I know your kind. Last week you loved Baby Doc Duvalier, and look what happened to him. How are you tonight? You sound in a good mood. This is the portion of the show we call the monologue. And I want you to know that none of these jokes will die tonight. They're going to come back as Shirley MacLaine. Well, a lot of stuff in the news. Yeah. Where is Baby Doc Duvalier? Last time I read he was in France someplace. Right. He was deposed, as you know, that dictator, but do not worry. He's going to make the smooth transition to network programming. Look, it wasn't a terrible week for Duvalier. He did win the California lottery. So, am I keeping anybody up? I suppose you're all wondering about who won the election in the Philippines? Just came over the teletype. Yes. The winner is Mayor Richard Daley. Have you been following? I don't know what the hell is going on in the Philippines. I've been following it for 2 days. I drove in today. There were 2 Philippine ballot boxes in my parking spot. Apparently they are... Was there any announcement at all today? Apparently they are still counting the votes in the Philippines. And as Marcos said yesterday, there are 10,000 votes still missing. I know because I cast them myself. Well, for a moment, I felt like the man in the glass booth, but I'm doing better now. Apparently there are... Do you know how many islands there are in the Philippines? Literally hundreds and hundreds of islands, and they still are coming in from remote islands. They found one village that's so remote in the Philippines they have never heard of Joan Collins. And speaking of elections, Fidel Castro was, quote-unquote, re-elected president of Cuba yesterday. And Castro said, "You will not see any voting fraud in Cuba. You won't see voting." Well, that's... No. Only if you're sure in your heart. Pity you can smell in a minute. You know whose birthday it is today? Thomas Alva Edison's birthday is today. That's right. Probably one of the greatest inventors of all time. Did you know, outside of the electric light bulb and the phonograph, that he once worked, true, on an electric toilet? Edison actually worked. That's true. The electric toilet was not very successful because every time he went to the bathroom, he had to wear rubber shoes. Anyway, there's some good news and some bad news. The good news is archaeologists, you may have read this, in Egypt found the 3,000-year-old tomb of King Tut's treasurer. True, and the bad news is they found 2 sets of books. Here's an intriguing tidbit of news. Nancy Reagan announced yesterday in the press that when Russian leader Mikhail Gorbachev and his wife visit the United States, I guess they're coming this spring or summer, Nancy is going to take them to a Safeway supermarket. Now, that's an intriguing idea. You see the leader of the Russian people cooling his heels at the checkout stand while the guy is saying, "Hey, Rudy, give me the price check on Campbell's borscht." Right. I also choreographed this joke. Nancy said she wants to take them to a supermarket to show them how our people live. It'll be Nancy's first trip there, too. Now, Gorbachev, you may not understand American packaging. Wait till he gets home with his dozen eggs and finds 12 pair of pantyhose. No, kind of let it bunch up at the end. Now, here is one of the dumb news items of the day, but I suppose it's interesting to some people. Norwegian scientists figured out how to tell boy herrings from girl herrings. Now, I know this does not seem very exciting on the surface, but apparently it's tough to tell them apart. And apparently girl herrings in Tokyo, for some reason, sell for much more money. So they determined a way to tell boy herrings from girl herrings. How do you think they did it?
Please tell us.
What? Thank you, sir. When they're swimming, the girl herring keeps her head out of the water so it doesn't ruin the hairdo. You would think, wouldn't you, that Norwegian scientists would work on something more important, like how to open a sardine can? But anyway, did you know boy herrings and girl herrings taste exactly the same? Remember, you heard it here, not on Phil Donahue. Okay. Little show business news. Guess who is going to appear on the A-Team? Boy George. Boy George is going to appear on an episode of the A-Team. Wow. Soon we can look forward to seeing Rex Reed on the Delta Force. I love the A-Team. I always enjoy its plot. Some more show business news. Omar Sharif. Did you see that miniseries? He starred in a miniseries called Harem, about a man with 40 wives. That is not a miniseries, that's a nightmare. Okay. We have a good show. A gentleman I just met before the show, I've admired for many, many years. He was voted, nominated for an Academy Award for his role in Cocoon, Mr. Don Ameche. Yeah. Now, those of you who are old enough will remember one of his pictures that most people remember. Don Ameche played the inventor of the telephone, Alexander Graham Bell. And Don is doing an updated version of that story for television. Now, the big scene, if you remember, is when Alexander Graham Bell is in a lab, right? New version is he yells into the phone and says, "Watson, come here, I need you." And Watson says, "I didn't even know you cared." That is the updated version. Also, a very amusing songwriter, performer, Mr. Jim Stafford is here. And a young lady whom I have not met yet. She's 16 years old, I believe. Her name is America Morris, and she is on the varsity wrestling team, I believe, of Claremont. Is it Claremont College? Not the girls' wrestling team, on the varsity wrestling team. Yeah, boys. And they're boy herrings and girl herrings. She's on the ball herring. Anyway, that's the lineup, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. You have a good weekend?
Very nice.
I was out looking for the whales. I have not seen any whales headed back to the Bering Sea.
That's great fun, isn't it? When they see them come out of the water, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, they're supposed to be heading back to the Bering Sea. I have not seen any yet. Maybe is it still tourist season in Mexico? Maybe they're staying over for the holiday season. Anyway, I don't know, I'm a little dingy tonight. If you just joined us, we have Don Ameche, who will come out shortly, Jim Stafford, a young lady who was on the Claremont. Was that right? Was it the Claremont College? Where's Claremont? Right here in California, isn't it?
In San Diego.
In California, San Diego. She's on the she's on the wrestling team there.
Boy.
Excuse me?
Claremont High School.
I wouldn't engage him, yeah.
Claremont College, I think it is, or a high school. It's Claremont High School. I'm sorry, I kept saying Claremont College and bad boy. Have you read the rumor? Maybe it's not a rumor. Somebody said it may have happened today, that the Coca-Cola Company was going to buy Merv Griffin Enterprises for, Merv does right well, $250 million, they're saying. Well, look what Merv has got going for him. He produces such programs, Wheel of Fortune.
Big hit.
Dance Fever.
Big hit.
I think he has Jeopardy, isn't that in there?
Another.
Yeah, and the Merv Griffin Show. And although Coke apparently, somebody said late today they might have purchased it today, but anyway, it looks like they're gonna. Now, as you know, Coke changed their formula. We got to hold, for example, here is this is the regular Coke, remember?
Yeah.
Now, as you know, this is the new Coke, right?
That's the new classic.
Then they came back because they thought maybe they'd pulled the boner.
That's the classic.
Coke wasn't so dumb. They said, well, let's put out the classic Coke. And so they did, and now we found out their new soft drink is going to be this. I just wonder if this fizzes like the other one does.
Take a minute.
Yeah, that's the new Merv Coke. Okay. Did you know, folks, and I don't know why you would, but this is National Corkboard Week. Or maybe we just planned. The week of February the 2nd through the 8th is National Corkboard Week. Now, do you even know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Well, you know what a corkboard is.
Something you pin notices on, whatever.
That's right. Now, it's set aside, listen to this, to encourage communication and creativity in the work environment and to celebrate the creative use of the corkboard as the unsung hero in the pursuit of office creativity, functionality, and congeniality. Now, how can you argue with something like that? Anyway, wherever you work, don't you have an employee's corkboard that you put up and you see all these notices, and usually people are selling things or they're got a room to rent or something, or they've lost a puppy or something, just for the fun of it. More than that, we hope.
What do you have?
The NBC corkboard from the employees' lounge.
Oh, let's see that.
And I figured, why don't we find out what's on it? By the
Hopefully something amusing.
Apparently all written by the same people.
Certainly use the same typewriter. There's only one typewriter.
We could have dressed this up a little to make them look different, you know, like a scrap of paper, maybe a different color. Some could have been handwritten, but these are all typed out, double-spaced. And anyway, let's see what we have here. I'll just take these off. Here's a car for sale. 1962 Studebaker. Mint condition, only driven when sober. Has 3/4 of a mile on it. Contact Ed McMahon. You have a 62 Studebaker. Let's see what we have here. Actually, these were all different sizes, and we typed them out so it'd be
easier for you to read.
That's right. Now, let's see. It says a reminder, next Wednesday will be the monthly spraying of the Tonight Show staff. As usual, staff members are asked to lie in the back parking lot wearing only their socks and wait for the crop duster. Guys, having problems with reproduction? Contact Wanda, the Xerox girl, in the photocopy room between 5 and midnight. All from the NBC corkboard. Here's a note from our executive producer, Fred DeCordova. Lost 1 bottle heart medication. $5 reward if found and returned. Here's an additional one from our producer, Peter LaSalle. $10 reward if found and not returned.
Oh, that'd be nasty.
Staff members are reminded until the sandwich machine in the hall is repaired, as you know it's out, Cannibalism will be permitted, but only in designated areas. We work for a weird company. Oh, this is kind of sad, but memorial services for Assistant Commissary Chef. Assistant Chef in the commissary here with Lou Jenkins will be held tonight on the Santa Monica Pier. Following the service, his grease will be scattered at sea. The annual Tonight Show Employees Pharmacy Costume Ball we held next Saturday night, 8 o'clock in the NBC Auditorium. Please come dressed as your favorite over-the-counter drugstore product. I know. I felt the same way when I read that. Well, I shouldn't even read that one I put up there. What?
Read it.
Longtime NBC superstar seeks attractive secretaries to carpool to Malibu, must be able to undress at freeway speeds. Oh, get ready for the fishing season. Call Jake to have your earthworms spayed or neutered. Dating a pirate? Got dents in your mattress? Get a custom-made Velcro peg leg holster. Contact Sharon in the wardrobe department. Tonight Show secretaries with waterproof IBM Selectrics are invited to compete in tonight's nude mud typing competition. Hope we have a big finish for this. Whoever stole 200 feathered jogging suits, please return them to Doc Severinson's locker. No questions will be asked. Yeah.
This the closer?
You enjoy setting me up for disaster, don't you? Tonight Show band seeks roommate. Must be quiet, neat, and not know how to dial the number 911. Okay, that is it. Enough of that, and maybe we'll do this again sometime. You know, the guy that invented those probably made a fortune.
Yeah.
Those little
Great.
pins with the fortune. Why don't we think of something like that? That's it, huh? Okay. Okay. We have, okay. What am I doing tonight?
Hold it up. Go ahead.
What?
What you're going to hold
I
up?
was going to reach back and hold this chicken up. And
Always gets a laugh.
I should have put the chicken on the board. For a special moment, reward yourself with a rich taste of a Score candy bar. First guest tonight is a lovely young lady who is on the varsity wrestling team at Claremont High School in San Diego. She's the first girl in California to place in a varsity match. She won 5th place. Would you welcome America Morris? How are you?
Fine.
You're a very attractive young lady.
Thank you.
If somebody would point you out to me walking down the street and say, that girl's on the varsity wrestling team, I'd say, you gotta be crazy. And you are, though, right?
Yeah.
And let's place 5th. Now, your name, you must get asked about this all the time.
Definitely.
It is America Morris, right?
Right.
Now, how'd your folks decide to name you America?
My mom wanted my name to be different than anybody else's, and she came from Mexico. And when she came to the United States, she really liked it.
Right.
And so she decided to name me America.
Yeah. Did you get kidded when you were real young, sometimes about the name?
A lot. Oh, God.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, kids are kind of cruel sometimes, huh?
I had a nickname.
Can you What was your nickname?
Amy.
Amy.
Yeah, I don't like it at all, though, no.
You prefer America?
Right.
Now, of all the sports you could go out for, why wrestling?
I don't know. I was in
Well,
wrestling,
I mean, you could have played basketball, you could have gone women's track, gymnastics.
I was in conditioning with the wrestling team, and it was just, you know, to build muscle and for swimming.
Right.
And then I was watching TV, and I saw Carrie Hanley, which she petitioned to the board for girls to be on contact sports, and I said, why not? And so I went out, told my coach. He looked at me weird. I said, I don't care what you'd say. I'm going to try.
So, there was a precedent set for girls could play in boys' contact sports, right?
Uh-huh.
I think there are a couple of girls playing football.
Yeah, there's
on
a
some
couple
teams.
in L.A.
What was the reaction of the fellas on the team when you walked out? You must weigh, what, 105, 110 pounds?
Right.
Something like that? And you walked out and said, this is the girl who's going to try out for the varsity wrestling team. What was their general reaction?
Good luck.
Really?
That was it. Good luck.
Well, didn't they feel that they would kind of go easy on you?
Oh, they went, oh, yeah. I was wrestling Carrie, another girl who tried out for the team.
Right.
And so one day the coach just said, well, you wrestle another guy, because you might as well get used to it. So I went over there and I started wrestling. And there was a basic maneuver, it's called a cross face, where you shove your arm across their face. And he was doing it real lightly, you know, he didn't want to hurt me.
Right.
And so the coach got really mad and just stood up and he goes, this is how you do it. And he came over to me and he just hit me right across the face. I'm like, Jesus. And so, and so the guy just looked at me and he just said, okay. And then when it came to doing it again, he just put it lightly across again. And then when it came to my turn, I just said, I don't care. And I went across his face super hard and he said, hey, if you're going to do it that hard, I'm going to do it that hard too. And so now it's equal.
So now they go all out when you're wrestling?
Yeah.
What's this? Now, of course, when you see wrestling in school, high school or college, versus wrestling that is on television, it's two completely different things, right?
Yeah.
Professional wrestling, what would you say about that?
I don't like professional wrestling. It's more of pain-like, more punching, kicking. It's not wrestling. I don't know why they call it professional wrestling. Yeah. It should be something else.
You think it's phony?
I think so, because, you know, you see patterns and little, you know...
I've never understood how a guy can throw a guy clear across the ring into the rope and stand there and wait for him to come back the other way, and then all you have to do is just, you think to step aside, but I guess it's really an exhibition is what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, when we come back, we have a little piece of film, I think, where you have one of your throws, and then will you show us a few little maneuvers? And I'll go easy on you, of course. We'll be right back. We are back. And if you just joined us, Don Ameche will join us, Jim Stafford. This lovely young lady to my right is America Morris, who's on the varsity wrestling team at Claremont High School in San Diego. You ever been hurt during a match?
No,
really?
Not yet.
That's pretty good.
They try.
What's more important, just being strong or technique? Technique,
I think, because you don't need much muscle. You just, if you know moves and apply them right, you'll kill the guy.
You have a steady boyfriend?
Yeah.
What did he think when you went and said, whatever his name is?
Oh, God, he hated it.
Really?
He didn't like it at all.
Well, I can see that.
Because I guess the aspect of guys jumping all over and everything. But now...
that can disturb some guys, yeah.
But now he's 100% behind me, even before I pinned Russell Kane.
Yeah, now you did pin this fellow. I guess we're going to see a little piece of tape here. It made the papers, right?
Yeah.
Is this what we're going to see here?
Yeah.
Okay, watch the monitors. Where did this happen?
Madison tournament.
Ooh. That's you putting the fella down?
That's me. It was great. I loved it. It was exciting.
How did he feel about this?
Oh, he took it very well.
Did he take it well?
He took it great.
Now, are you going on to college?
Yeah, but I don't...
Will you wrestle in college?
I doubt it, because it's more of macho.
You guys are a little larger, and although you do wrestle according to weight class, there's the bell now for round 2. Hey. I'll get him in 2. Did you hear a bell, or am I just hearing that? I thought I heard some bell there. I tell you what, somebody said you're going to give us a little demonstration. When I say us, I guess me and the audience. Do you have to change a little bit? Now, I can just wear what I have on.
Just take off your coat and shoes.
Take off my coat and shoes? You want to go ahead and,
sure.
and change, and I'll wait here and get ready for you. She's so petite and pretty.
Take off his coat.
Well, just help me take off my coat and shoes.
You'll be okay.
I'll kill her.
She's not going to hurt you.
I'll hold her down, you kick her.
Shoot.
Remember W.C. Fields in that famous bar scene? Yeah, but I was the one who kicked her.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
You don't hear from me in a couple hours. Why don't you come over here and be my second?
All right.
What?
Better get warmed up.
Sure. I don't know anything about this. Well, here we are at the wrestling mat. My wrestler doesn't get here in 2 minutes. I guess I'll have to start without her. Wait a minute.
My assistant will be along any minute.
My assistant will be here any minute.
And here she comes now.
And here she comes now. Well, in just a second. I suppose she was detained at the train station.
That's it. The warm.
How we doing, Anita?
American, ready?
What?
You better take your tie off.
Why is that?
Well, she could grab you by that thing and hang you.
What kind of ladies you've been going out with? What do you mean?
Here she comes.
Hey. Hi. What do you want me to do now?
Just lay on your face.
Lay on my face.
Right.
Last time I did that, it cost me a bundle, but I'll...
Okay.
What do you want me to do?
Just lay there.
Just like this?
Exactly.
You all
Okay,
right?
this is what we call a half Nelson armbar.
Now, this is my first half Nelson, so please be gentle.
Just go with the flow.
Go with the flow.
Here.
What do you...
Okay, now
I
lay
wasn't
down
ready.
again. Wait, same thing again.
Boy, you flipped me over easy. Easy. That's leverage, isn't it?
You're light, you're weak, you're...
Get down here in your face. Get out of the car. All right, what do you want me to...
Just lay down, same
Lie
thing
down again? The same humiliation again?
Okay, you're gonna love this next one.
I hope so.
It's called near side cradle.
Near side cradle?
Yeah.
Now just go with the flow again.
Just... No.
Get out of the car.
We've got one more.
We got one more.
One more. Just lay down again.
Lay down again.
See, I don't want to pick you up and throw you. That might hurt you. This is what we call an arm lever.
An arm lever.
Sounds good. This is where I take your arm.
Yeah.
Here. I stick my head here.
Yeah.
And lift that.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, America. We'll be right back. Okay. It is really a pleasure to welcome my next guest. He's done everything in the entertainment business, radio, theater, television, motion pictures. And after making over 50 motion pictures, he's just received his first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor in Cocoon. Would you welcome Mr. Don Ameche? What a pleasure.
Thank you, Johnny.
It is really such a great kick having you here.
Thank you.
And
Your big kick out of that spot, by the way.
The girl is fairly strong. She says she's not, but that's...
It just looked wonderful on the screen,
Thank
really.
you. Well, we'll get to your stuff later because you did some of your own things in Cocoon. Swimming, diving, and some break dancing. And we'll have a little... And you've got a couple of years on me, which is amazing, the way you do that. That's really amazing. Are you getting tired of people coming up and saying congratulations?
No.
You've been in this
I don't
business.
think so.
You've been in this business a long time. What was it like when somebody came in and told you?
Oh, it was thrilling, Johnny. You know, when you get to be my age, and there were two separate periods in my life when I went over 12 years without having done a motion picture, and then to have had one that pleased so many people, right, and a great spectrum of people in America, right, because I would have to think that at least 75% of the people that stopped me on the streets were under 30 years of age.
I had never seen you in most of your major motion pictures at all.
They had not. And they were all so courteous and so nice, so genuinely sincere in what they were saying. And they'd all say they liked me very much, but the last remark would almost invariably be, "We loved the picture."
Well, that's great.
Which I think pleased me more than anything. You know, it would, because I had the feeling that Cocoon, certainly for the first time that I have seen motion pictures, they really presented older people as they are.
Right.
Presented them with dreams, presented them with problems, with sex drives and things like that. And I don't think these younger people apparently thought that older people were like that.
Well, you know, when you're a kid, you never envision your parents making love.
Never did.
You know,
never
you're saying,
well,
Mom and Pop are doing that? You know.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. And it was pleasing to me because I don't know. At 77, I don't think I still have the dreams that I had when I was, not the same dreams, but I have as many of them.
Yeah.
And
I have a few of those myself, Don. Yeah. Is there any one person whose name came to mind that when you were nominated for this, that you wanted to thank her during your long career, or that you thought was instrumental in shaping your life?
I don't think so, Johnny. I guess of all the people that I would be grateful to, I'd be grateful to Lily and Richard Zanuck and Ron Howard for taking me, for giving me the opportunity. They would have to be number one. But then, of course, to be asked to perform in a picture with the cast that I had going with me in that, if I had been asked prior to having made the picture and said that I was to do this, and how would I cast the rest of this picture? I would have cast it with just exactly the people that were in the picture.
So you went in feeling comfortable.
Oh, my, oh, my.
When I mentioned earlier in the monologue, I said you played Alexander Graham Bell. A lot of the younger people said, gee, I don't remember that, because that was a good number of years ago. And in a few moments, we're going to play you something that I remember very well. Those of us who grew up in the great radio days, Bergen and McCarthy and Jack Benny and Fred Allen and et cetera and Bob Hope, remember a show you did called The Bickersons. With Francis Langford playing Blanche. You played John Bickerson, and the name was absolutely perfect. They were constantly in battle. And the wonderful thing about radio, when we get to that, is that you could sit at home and let your mind be the theater. You didn't have to, on television, you got to build a set and you got to make it look believable. The radio was that wonderful experience of filling in all of the unknown.
Everything you put into it. If there were 1 million people listening to it, there were 1 million different leading ladies and 1 million different leading men.
That's right.
1 million different descriptions of the room in which you were, or the scenery, outdoor scenery, whatever it was.
I miss radio.
Oh,
they're playing a lot of the shows now on radio. KNX and some of the stations were playing some of the great radio shows. Shirley Wood managed to go out, and before we show from Cocoon, I want you to listen to radio. Now, if you don't remember the Bickersons, Blanche and John were They were way dated. They predated the bunkers many, many years. Yes. But they really went at each other. And usually Blanche woke up John early in the morning to talk about something. John was known to have a drink occasionally, right? And just let your mind kind of wander now, because for the next about a minute, we are going to... The snoring we'll do later, because usually she woke him up, but I'm going to ask you to do that after this tape.
All right.
Picture your mind is 3 in the morning. Blanche Bickerson has just wakened her husband, John. Just nothing to watch.
Why didn't you show up for the party, John?
I told you, I got stuck at the office.
I'd like to believe that. What were you doing?
Working.
Sure. That's always the first excuse. If I don't fall for that, you have a second excuse, then a third, and a fourth. What were you working on?
A fifth.
You'd better not be so bold, John Bickerson. For your information, I got a call from Louise Shaw.
What about it?
She saw you coming out of a saloon at midnight. She saw you, now don't deny it.
I'm not denying it.
Why were you coming out of a saloon at midnight?
Because I had to come out sometime.
I'm warning you, John. You better give up that habit. Every time you go into a saloon, the devil goes in with you.
Well, if he does, he pays for his own drinks. Good night.
No, no. What time did you leave the office?
I left the office at 11 o'clock. I caught the bus at 11:05. I got off at 11:54. I stopped at the cocktail bar and bought a corkscrew and waited an hour.
Why?
Because it was pouring outside.
What were you doing?
Pouring inside.
I mean, boom, 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 boom. I want to thank... That was created and written by Philip Rapp. We wanted to give him credit for that. Those were wonderful shows. Wonderful, wonderful day. We're going to come back. We got a little film clip from Cocoon. And you're going to snore for us?
Would you like me to?
You betcha. When we come back, stay where you are.
You know, those jokes hold up.
We're back talking with Don Ameche. Now, the reason we didn't play the first part of that audio tape of the Bickersons is because the studio audience wouldn't have understood what was happening. The radio audience, of course, could see what you were doing in front of the microphone. Usually you were dead asleep when Blanche... And I thought there was a sound man doing the snoring. You did that live, and it was a... Could you still... this is kind of silly to ask a man here in front of us.
That's all right. I don't know that I can do it as well as I did it then, but I'll try it for you.
And it went on and on. Well, you haven't lost your touch there. When you were making all those pictures in Hollywood, I was talking to Freddie DeCordova. You're a rather private person.
Yes.
Aren't you? I mean, you didn't really make what they called, in those days, if there was such a thing as the glamorous Hollywood scene. You kind of did your work and went home. Was it you just felt comfortable out there?
Yeah, I did, Johnny. And naturally, I did not dislike actors. Many people might have thought that I did because I went to so few parties. Matter of fact, I only went to one big party that they ever had out here, and that was for the Daryl Zanuck's in Virginia's 25th wedding anniversary. But having had 4 children and eventually 6 children, and finding out very early on that to bring children up was a very delicate operation in Hollywood if you wanted to keep them halfway normal children. Yeah. So I went about doing the best that I could, and of course that meant that I had to restrict what I did too. But there was no chore for me. I never was as much into acting as probably the rest of my good friends were. Hank Fonda, for instance. I really believe Hank lived to act. And I think it's wonderful, you know, that he had this kind of a...
To you looked at it as part of your life.
It did. It was a part of my life. And there were other things, and of course, another thing that I always felt, Johnny, was that it was necessary to know considerable about life and the people that participated in life on all levels to which you could expose yourself, the wealthy, the middle class, the poor, the everything, so as to have a backlog of information on which you could fall back on. Laurence Olivier, I am told, felt the same way about all these things. So I saw a lot of other people besides the people with whom I worked. I saw doctors, I saw priests, I saw laborers.
It keeps a balance in your life.
It did. It did for me.
I'm not stopping you here, but I want to show this film clip from Cocoon because you are doing some things here that I want to talk to you about.
Right.
Roll the tape, watch the monitors.
Like a Mattel toy there.
You did all of that, or did somebody sneak just maybe a touch?
Touch.
Just a touch.
Touch.
The diving you did for sure.
Yeah.
Did you used to dive or just?
No, just with the kids, fooling around with them. As a matter of fact,
But when's the last time you've done something like that?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was right around 40 years since I had dove. When Ron asked me one day if I could dive, and I said, well, I used to. And he said, well, do you think you can do it now? And I said, well, I'll sure try for you. So we went out to a pool, and I tried, and he says, fine, we'll just leave it that way.
That's remarkable. Absolutely remarkable. What, if people come to you now, are they coming to you saying with other pictures and so forth?
I did the Hope, the thing
Right.
with Bob Hope. But other than that, I haven't had an offer, Johnny, and it's now a year and 4 months. But it was 18 months between trading places and
Yeah.
Cocoon. I had not had one offer during that time either. So.
Yeah. But isn't it nice to have this this kind of recognition and accolades?
Oh gosh, it is for
Late in
me.
life?
It is for me. Really.
It must be.
Yeah, a great, great, great thrill. I'm very grateful.
We'll take a break and we'll be right back. We are back. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little visit as much as I have. I think the audience has tonight. It's been.
Oh, I've enjoyed it a great, great, great deal, Johnny. I'm grateful to you for having me.
Oh,
Really.
and thanks for all the lovely motion pictures and entertainment you've given us for some 50 years. And tomorrow, by the way, Jim Stafford was supposed to be with us tonight, and we ran a little long. Jim will understand because he opens tomorrow night with Doc, right? And Joan Rivers at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. They'll be through the February 20th. Does that mean you're going to be going back and forth, Doc?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm
but
going to be renting your plane.
At a reasonable rate, of course.
Thank you. Good night.
I'm humbled by that applause.